in retrospect, in knowledge and character, and in retrospect.
Stop using words that have more than 3 syllables that are in no way related to the questions that are being asked of you. A gun is pulled on the guy. You want his gold chain. And in the steps, he said you even brought the equipment to determine the clarity of the gold chain. Instead of you all getting a real job and taking care of the children that y'all decided to birth into this world, we wouldn't be here. He's going to be convicted of a felony today. So I'm not going to grant your application for deferred adjudication. All right, we're back on the record in 2025 CR 012572-02. Michael Robinson. Can I have parties reannounced?
Michael DeLeon for Mr. Robinson.
All right, Mr. Robinson, you're still under oath. And did you have a chance to think about what you wanted to tell the court?
I did.
All right. Do you need any more time?
No.
All right. Mr. DeLeon, you may proceed.
All right. Can you tell the court why you think you should get deferred adjudication?
Certainly, requesting a chance of external rehabilitation. That's to have an opportunity to be there for my children, all the women dependent on me, and evolve. It is kind of limited, if I may, to evolve in such circumstances. Yeah, I have and did, but simply asking that of you understand that I have a very small record, if not minimal, that of a misdemeanor, and I just feel as if I would proclaim that I qualified and deserve such chance to prove myself to myself and to my family. Then again, to be there for my children.
Mr. Robinson, let me ask you this. Do you feel like you can meet the qualification, do everything probation tells you to do if you're placed on probation?
Certainly.
And you want to have, you have an infant, you have an 18-month-old child, you want to take care of them, work, be responsible for them, help provide for them?
Yes.
Okay, you said previously, that you're only, I think, the only adjudication of a crime is a fail to ID misdemeanor, correct?
Correct.
Okay, you've never been convicted of a felony in this state or any other.
Correct.
Okay, and if the court places you on deferred adjudication, you and I have had this discussion. If you're placed on deferred and you do not meet the requirements of your deferred adjudication, you can be brought back to court and face anywhere between 2 up to 20 years in prison. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So if the court gives you that one chance, you understand that if you messed it up, you could be facing 20 years, correct?
Completely comprehensive.
Okay. Anything else you want the court to know?
I will evolve.
When you say you will evolve, does that mean you're going to become a better person? And
In retrospect, in knowledge and character, and in retrospect, so I will evolve generally. I have evolved therefrom, but I am subject to inevitable evolution.
So I have for you, sir. I'll pass the witness.
Hello, Mr. Robinson. My name is Lauren Espinoza and I represent the state. I just have a few questions for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you told the PSI officer you came to San Antonio in August of 2025, correct?
That is correct.
Do you remember the day?
I do not actually. That is incorrect. I said I came in July, a couple weeks before. If you were to see the PSI, I said I was sick.
So would it surprise you to learn that in the PSI narrative it says August? So is that incorrect then, I guess, is the question?
I guess that was improperly documented. I got incarcerated on August 9th.
Correct. Okay.
Or August 8th, one of those days. And yes, I was here a couple of weeks before, almost a month. So July is
Okay, so you came to San Antonio in July then,
somewhere
Okay.
around that time.
and you were living with your mom for a bit, right?
Correct.
And then where were you living after you stopped residing with your mom?
I was residing hotel to hotel.
Do you recall the names of the hotels?
I do not.
Did the hotel by the name of Best Value Inn sound familiar?
No.
Okay, so approximately August 2nd, 2025, you weren't staying at the Best Value Inn with Miss Santiago?
I do not recall.
Would it surprise you to learn that she rented 2 hotel rooms at that hotel?
It would.
It would surprise you. So it would also be surprising to you that you were seen on surveillance video with her going from room 222 to room 218.
Well, I would have to. I don't know what exact hotel this is, so I don't know exactly what you're specifying. But I understand that this is dehorsed that to this specific litigation. You're not talking about this transpired.
It's an incident on August 2nd.
Right. This is not the date of August 8th, therefore it is
Right, but
unsubstantial within
you're-
objectivity, correct?
But you're aware that you were alleged to be a suspect of a robbery of a similar nature on August 2nd
All right.
with Miss Santiago.
Judge, I'm gonna object to the question at this point for the purposes of sentencing, only because, he has pled no contest to the substantiated facts that are in the PSI. I don't see the relevance of the questioning for the purposes of sentencing.
Your Honor, the offense report regarding him being a suspect on August 2nd was included in the stipulations, and it does show that he had a firearm and was participating in the same not continuous, but the same course of conduct as the instant offense here, August 9th, 2025.
Right, so here's my question. The questions that you are asking him to commit to, are those for a different offense or this offense?
It's for an incident on August 2nd. That mirrors the exact fact pattern as the August 9th offense that he pled no contest to.
It's not charged with any type of crime for August 2nd, so I don't find that relevant. Plus, this is stipulations. He has stipulated to this, Your Honor.
All right. With regards to relevancy, that's going to be overruled. However, I don't know if your client is intending to exercise any rights related to that question. Oh,
Okay, so the instant offense here, August 9th, 2025. Do you recall being at a Best Western Plus?
This is accurate.
Yeah, on IH10, right? And you were there with whom?
With the mother of my children, Akira Santiago.
Okay, and do you recall being inside the hotel room when the alleged individual complainant came into the room?
Yes.
Okay, now I want to ask you, we found out a little bit about you, right? You have 2 children. Were you thinking of your children on August 9th, 2025?
Object argumentative, Your Honor.
overrule.
You can answer the question.
Was I thinking of my children on this specific date of said transpirance was the question. Yes.
Okay, and did you consider how your actions might affect your children? Or I guess child, you had a 10-month-old.
I could have pondered furthermore.
Okay, so it's your testimony to, or I guess, let me retract that. You are asking the court to grant deferred adjudication, correct?
Correct.
What steps are you going to take to better yourself? Or what steps have you taken?
It is an internal switch in which I probably is just that of not partaking in ignorance, if I may. subjecting myself to studies, sophisticating my characteristic rather than again subjecting to the nescience. That of we have 8 hours to be up within this predicament I am subjected to. And I have completely inverted my schedule just to stay up, to study all night, and divert from things that are irrelevant. Such things that is those are substantial steps, if you ask me. You know, that of studying, that of planning.
Okay, so if you were to be granted probation, you plan to reside with your mother, correct?
Correct.
Which is someone you were living with before, correct?
Correct.
And you plan to co-parent with Miss Santiago, correct?
Correct.
So how can you be sure you're not going to revert to old habits?
Well, thy will shall be done, and my will is certainly not retroactive transpirances.
And Mr. Robinson, how did you obtain the firearm allegedly used in this offense?
Object to relevance at this point, Judge. It's part of the stipulations.
All right, that will be overruled.
That's the question.
Private cell. That is state.
Private sale?
Yes, a private cell.
Was that in here or in Arkansas?
That was in Texas.
No further questions, Judge.
No further questions, Judge.
All right, I have some questions.
Okay.
And maybe the attorneys can ask it. Number one is, why are people continuing to have children and they don't have their life together?
I can't answer that for you, Judge.
And then number two, I will say this, with regards to this case, nobody has clean hands. It just depends on whether or not the public will be safe with his having probation. And based upon what I'm reading in the stipulations, I have some issues with giving him probation, and maybe somebody can alleviate my concerns, maybe not. Here are my issues. You have the complainant who meets the mother of your child, and they're supposed to be meeting up some hotel to engage in certain intimacies in exchange for funds. And according to the stipulations, this was all planned out for you to come in and take money. And a gun is pulled on the guy. You want his gold chain. And in the stips, he said you even brought the equipment to determine the clarity of the gold chain. And he did tell the guy, hey, no, I'm not going to shoot you, but I will beat you with this gun. So I don't know if anybody wants to address those for the court, because I find it very concerning as far as it relates to public safety. And I don't know if anyone is able to address those concerns. And I know that the co-defendant, the mother of your children, is in Arkansas. She ended up in probation, and I know, but for her, this probably would have never happened, because if she wouldn't agree to meet up with him at a hotel, you know, to have intimacies with him instead of you all getting a real job and taking care of the children that y'all decided to birth into this world, we wouldn't be here. So anybody want to address my concerns or issues?
Judge, I will address with essentially my closing argument is that Mr. Robinson's 21 years old. Young men make stupid choices, and stupid choices were made in this particular case. However, he has never been convicted of a felony before. He's been convicted of fail to ID one time in some other jurisdiction. He wants that opportunity for deferred adjudication, Your Honor, to prove himself. If he messes up, he is facing 20 years. That will ensure the community that of public safety in this particular case. I don't know if does your mother still live in Arkansas?
No, my mom stays here.
Okay. regardless, Judge, with a co-defendant who got 5 years, a complainant who got his gold chain back, a complainant who was outdoing, illicit things. Regardless, he wants that opportunity for deferred adjudication. If he messes up, he's gonna be back here. He's gonna get 20 years, up to 20 years under a deferred adjudication. We want that opportunity for him. Like most people, 21-year-old man placed in this position by themselves, because of poor choices. He knows that, he gets slapped in the face with the reality of the criminal justice system. He has that one more opportunity, Your Honor, if the court provides him with deferred adjudication, provides him that opportunity to do right, to change his life around. If he doesn't, then he's facing up to 20 years at that point. So we'd ask the court to consider the fact that he has not been adjudicated on any other cases. And in this particular case, even when in the steps, he says, I'm not gonna shoot you, but,
I'll beat you.
I'm paraphrasing. And,
I mean, what are you shaking your head for? That's what's in the stipulations.
That is what the witness proclamated, Mr. Boyd, but that is not.
All right, this is what I'm going to ask you to do for me. Stop using words that have more than 3 syllables that are in no way related to the questions that are being asked of you. So here's the thing. What's in the stipulation is what I go by, because stipulated means, everybody agrees. If this person were to come into court to testify, they're going to say exactly what's in the stipulation. That's when people sign off on this, that's what they're saying. They're saying, you know what? If this witness comes in, they're going to say exactly what's in the stipulations. And when I review the stipulations, I'm viewing it to see whether the evidence is sufficient enough to find somebody guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, right? That's what the stipulations are. And obviously we're here at sentencing, so I have deemed that there's enough evidence that has been presented by the state through way of stipulation for you to be found guilty. So that's what's in the stips that I read. If that's not what I read in the stips, somebody correct me. I'm not going to take offense.
That is what is in the stipulation.
All right.
nothing further, Judge.
State.
Your Honor, we ask that you deny the application for deferred adjudication sentenced to a cap of 6 years in the prison. Defense counsel points to the co-defendant getting 5 years deferred adjudication. However, it was Mr. Robinson that had the firearm and held the complainant at gunpoint. Further, the state would assert that Mr. Robinson does pose a potential risk of flight. Based on the PSI, he does have the 3 fail to appears in Arkansas. For June and July of 2025, which were dates prior to this and shortly before Mr. Robinson did show up in Texas, as he told the court. It's actually July of 2025, not August. So he does pose that risk of flight, and I don't think he would be a good candidate for deferred adjudication. He poses a risk to the community, Judge. We can't have people in our community going around holding people at gunpoint instead of getting jobs to financially support themselves in that way. So for that, we've asked that you deny his application.
And lastly, Judge, on the court dates in Arkansas in July or wherever, it's all hearsay. We don't know exactly when those court dates are. We don't know anything about whether he was supposed to appear or not appear. If there's a non-appearance docket, we know nothing about that. So a little nitpicky on the state's interpretation of those dates, but the main big picture is this young man has never been convicted of a felony before. We're asking for deferred adjudication, Your Honor.
All right, so this is what I can tell everybody. He's going to be convicted of a felony today. So I'm not going to grant your application for deferred adjudication. Now, whether or not I give you probation or not, that's something I still need to think about. So I'm going to find him guilty. And then, counsel, you're available to come back tomorrow by Zoom?
I'll be here.
All right.
I'll be in the courtroom on a different matter, Your Honor.
All right. So the court is going to find you guilty. I'm not going to grant your application for deferred adjudication. And I'll come back tomorrow and let you know whether or not I'll grant probation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.